The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 18th day of December 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. How's everyone feeling? This is we're like 1 week away. This is the final hump day before Family Day, Christmas Day, eat as much as you want day. It's Christmas next Wednesday, man. And if I'm not mistaken, that means it's also 2 weeks until the final day of the calendar year. Yeah, we did that. And unfortunately, and I don't want to, put us in a somber mood, but unfortunately, there are so many who didn't make it to the end of another calendar year. And today, I've been in meetings. I've been in Bermuda since Saturday, and I've been in meetings and various conversations. And as much as Maya and Teo and our team, we want to talk about happy stuff. We want to talk about solutions. We want to talk about things that are going to improve our community. But we have to address our reality. We have to address and find solutions to things that require uncomfortable conversations. And unfortunately, this is another day that we're going to have one of those. But before we get to that, happy Wednesday to you all. Happy hump day. And we've got David Michael Wilson says, happy, wonderful Wednesday all. Indeed, David. And greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Zarah Siddiqi of Bermuda is Love. We're going to be discussing why healthcare is a right, not a privilege. Yeah. Don't get me started on how, I've lived in the United States more than half of my life. And, growing up, you're taught that, this is the land of the free and, it's the greatest country in the world. And there are a lot of countries, Bermuda included, where I remember a guy, PLP guy, saying to me years ago when I was not complaining, but speaking up against the government and conscription in particular. And he said, Bermuda's the best country to live in the world. And it hit me at that point that if a government can get people to believe that this is the best thing in the world, that everyone would want what you have, then they are accomplishing one thing. They control your mind. Because as long as they can get you to believe that this is the best in the world of 200 something jurisdictions, nations, and whatever, you're not going to want to fight back. You're going to believe, hold on, I have it better than anyone else in the world. Why would I want to challenge? Why do I bring that up? Maya done a story, and she's spoken on it more than once about maternity leave, right? I'm not sure what year she did it, but she did a story on maternity leave. And when I was in graduate school, I was in an HR class. I learned that the United States was one of about 3 to 8 countries in the world who didn't have maternity leave written in law. I will just encourage you to Google what some of those other countries are. Why do I say that? Because we're having an important conversation about healthcare today being a right, not a privilege. Maternity leave is a part of healthcare to me. The United States being the greatest country in the world, but healthcare is more of a business than it is about people. This is concerning, folks. Bermuda needs to get a hold of it as well. I say this with love. In a fair and just society, no one should need to set up a GoFundMe account. The Daily Players Holiday Trivia today. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, Suzanne Ingham says, awesome, wise Wednesday, Jamel and TDH team. Let's jump into today's question of the morning. Folks, if you listened to the news break yesterday and the day prior, you know that we had another murder in our community. And I believe Assistant Commissioner Antoine Daniels stated that we've had 9 murders since May 24th, Bermuda Day. In August of this year, I attended a funeral. I was traveling, but my former neighbor in Rhode Island, her son was murdered. And to this day, you know, I've lost a lot of people I know from gun violence and murder. And every life was worth something to me. This one, as I stated at the time, just felt so different. Not because his life was more worthy or less. It meant something. This was an 18-year-old young man whose mother poured everything into him so that he didn't become a statistic. And as I read her words to her late son, she said, and he still became a statistic. There was someone put something on Facebook a couple of months ago, and it said, Bermudians love to gossip, but we don't love to talk. This is not a criticism of Bermudians. It's not meant to be that. But our community is only going to be a reflection of us and who we are. And if we fail to hold those we love accountable for their actions, we are doing them, ourselves, and the greater community a disservice. The question of the morning is at the bottom of the screen. What can we do to help prevent violence in our community? What do you think that we can do? Not the government, not the police, not the education system, but you, me, all of us. What can we do? Because I'll tell you one thing, I have very little information beyond what's been reported in the news about any of these murders. What I can tell you is that I guarantee you all of them was senseless. I can guarantee you they were senseless. And I think in this audience, amongst us, we have enough brain power, intellectual capacity, empathy, love in our hearts to find a way to stop this. We have it within us to help prevent this. But what can we do? Here's a yes or no question for you. Do you believe we need harsher penalties for violent crime in Bermuda? Is that it? Do we need harsher penalties for violent crime? What are your thoughts? How do we get over this hump? It's been too many. One is enough. It's like clockwork. You see the news report, man shot, police investigating murder. And the response from the community is, I'm tired of this. When will this stop? We're all tired, or at least we all should be. But when will it stop? It will stop when we collectively come together to not only figure out a way for it to stop, but then execute. Commissioner Daniels, Assistant Commissioner Daniels, said during his press conference the other day, there's more of us than them. There's more good people. So what can we do? Come on, audience, you're tuned in. What can we do? Are we at a loss for words? Is there nothing we can do? This is not a police problem. I know, one of the things that concerns me is that usually a murder happens and there's an arrest. And then time goes by and no one's been charged for it. I can imagine what that feels like for the families of the victims. But that requires help. You can blame it on the police, say, oh, well, the police know who are doing it, but they need the community's help. They can't do it alone. Most of our community is small enough where all of us know at least one police officer, right? So what can we do to help prevent violence in our community? And do you believe we need harsher penalties? Is it down to penalties? Suzanne Ingham says, we are all thinking, Jamel. And that's fair. That's okay, because I'm thinking. And I'm glad we're thinking. Where are we losing young men? Where do we, where is that stage where young men decide this is the route I'm going to take? Our community is grieving, man. We're a grieving community. But we can't heal. We're not going to heal if we have to keep going through this over and over and over. I don't have the answers. That's why I'm here having a conversation with all of you. This is a brainstorming session. Do I believe that harsher penalties are the answer? I don't actually. I'll tell you why I don't think harsher penalties are the answer. Because we already have penalties on the books that obviously the people committing these acts don't believe they'll be prosecuted or charged or convicted. So we probably have to take a more holistic approach. What is that holistic approach we take? Yes, we get to young men when they're younger. But for those who are already there, we can still work with them. It's going to take a lot of forgiveness. It's going to require a lot of love, whatever that looks like to everyone. But we can't continue. We can't continue to allow children to be raised without parents due to senseless acts of violence. We have a problem in our community. We've been ignoring it for too long. If not now, then when? And how? It's a lot of thinking going on this morning. My hope is that as we think about this and as we mourn or grieve for families in the greater community who've been impacted directly by the violence in our community, understand one thing. Bermuda is very small. You could be going to work with someone every day who's harboring a fugitive. You could be friends with someone who is involved in this, not by doing the acts, but providing a place to sleep for those who are wreaking havoc in our community. Let's go back to accountability. We need to hold the people we love accountable. Many of these young men committing these acts, I can guarantee you they're not the homeowners. They're probably not even renters. But I'm pretty sure they have beds to sleep in. They have homes to go home to. Who's housing these people? This is a conversation that we have to have. Christmas is next week, Wednesday, right? Yeah, it's fun and games. It's family, it's food, it's gifts. But not for everyone. There's an 11-year-old girl who's not going to have her father with her now. And if we continue on this path, there will be many more. There's someone and there are people who will be with their family next week, having committed such horrific acts. And they'll be joking and laughing with their family. Some in that room, their family members, may not know what they're involved in. And then there will be others who do. Have some honest conversations around the table. Sankofa Bermuda says, unfortunately, this is how a group has decided to resolve their issues, and there is no one answer to fix it. And it's going to take work from everyone to fix it. And it's going to be a long journey. Yeah. I don't think there's one answer. If it were, would have been addressed long ago. We have to do something. What we can't do is what we've been doing all this time. Let's bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour Newsbreak audience. After that, we're going to be talking about healthcare. It's a right, not a privilege. Polly Rich says, wondering what the gang reduction team is doing. Has their method been working? If so, maybe their strategy could be shared so that we can all partake or at least learn how we can help. That's fair. Pastor Bean, Leroy Bean. Yeah, I think it's fair to ask that question. Like, okay, what are the results? How many situations have been avoided? How many, it's tough though, because some of that information needs to be kept private to protect people, right? Shamari Talbot Woolrich says, we need economic investment, education, and community programs. And most of all, we need to treat our young men and women with dignity. Yeah. Yeah. But also, Shamari, it's like I say about religion, right? The promise of heaven is great. But while we are here on earth, we still have work to do. So my point is, yeah, we need economic investment, we need education, we need community programs. But while we work towards those things, we can still act like civil human beings, full of love for one another. What's that old saying? Can walk and chew gum at the same time, right? Spring Maya Palacio for Daily Hour Newsbreak audience. And we'll have Zarah Siddiqi from Bermuda is Love coming up as well. We'll be talking about why healthcare is a right and not a privilege.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
Good. I think you really hit it on the nail there when you were talking about how these people will definitely be at homes laughing and getting up with their families, and like people in the families might not even know things that they're doing or getting into. That hit me hard. I was just thinking about my own circumstances with my family and people who have done one side of my family, and I just know that hit hard. So I know it must have hit other people too.
And I hope it does, Maya. I really do. And this is not to blame those people, but ask questions. Because I think the most concerning thing about all of this is we tend not to care about things until they hit our doorstep. Our community is too small to think like that. 21 square miles, 60,000 people. Let's turn that gossip into talk and assistance and help in our community. I think that's what we want to see. If we can discuss who's in a relationship with who's sleeping with whose sexuality is what, and all that, if we can do that, and I'm not being funny, if that's easy to do, that has nothing to do with you, we should all be more comfortable speaking about what's going to keep us as individuals and the greater community safer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour Newsbreak brought to you by People's Pharmacy. This morning, we're talking social media and bans. So first up, if you haven't heard it, Australia will ban children under 16 from using social media after its parliament approved what is being called the world's strictest laws. Less debatable, though. But the ban, which will not take effect for at least 12 months, could see tech companies fined up to $50 million if they don't comply. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says that the legislation is needed to protect young people from the harms of social media, something many parent groups have echoed. So critics, though, are saying and questioning over how the ban will work and if its impact on privacy and social connections have been left unanswered. So here's a quick story to break it down a little further by NBC. Let's listen.
Do we all agree that this is like good but bad at the same time?
Under the new law, tech companies will be required to take reasonable steps to verify a user's age and prohibit those under 16 from creating accounts, or else face millions in fines.
We have heard the cries of families who are suffering.
The controversial measure meant to help protect young people from the negative effects of social media. The American Psychological Association has warned about the addictive nature of these apps and the negative impact it can have on a child's mental health and body image. But the law is facing fierce opposition, including from the big tech companies and Elon Musk, who wrote on X, seems like a backdoor way to control access to the internet by all Australians.
Here's what's interesting. People like Elon Musk, and I'm going to use Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, right? When they speak about freedom of internet, right? He's speaking about the freedom, like you're trying to block internet access. Ron DeSantis, when it came to the pandemic, would always talk about freedom of Americans, right? Freedom this, freedom that. But yet the same governor wants to ban flags from government premises, Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ, like you want to ban stuff. You want to ban certain books from being in schools. You want to ban. I think the hypocrisy of it from Elon Musk and people like DeSantis, still the same mindset, right? Is staggering. It's staggering. And I don't think we should really be taking people like that seriously who are comfortable being hypocritical in front of us. No, that's out the way. I don't like what social media has done in our community. And I know people don't like this term, but I do think it's a necessary evil. And when I say it's a necessary evil, it has allowed us, I'm going to use Maya since she's here. I think it's allowed us to educate people who don't go to news websites. I think it's allowed us to engage and connect with people who don't do traditional mediums. They got tired of it. I think social media has given a voice to the voiceless. Now, again, some of that's irresponsible. You know, I mean, Elon Musk is on a rampage telling people on Twitter or X that you're the new media. That's insane because there's no checks and balances. As far as Instagram, in that report that Maya just shared, they talked about body image and the like. I've actually grown to like Tickety Talk, right? I've grown to like it because it's really about being creative. It's not about showing your best picture in a bikini or your six pack or whatnot. No, I'm not hating just because my pack's down to 2, folks. Okay, 1.5. I'm not hating. I'm not hating. I'm simply saying that there's this thing, and it's not an age thing, Maya. It's not an age thing.
Go on.
Because I know 50-year-olds, legit, who look at what other people are doing on social media and think that they have to live up to it. I know people over 50 who are so insecure that they live by what they post. Like, oh, let me post this. I've got this going on in my... Folks, when I was in radio in Bermuda, I used to think I had to share everything because they say, you want to... No, I just used the show to do that. I'm going to share because I want you all to realize I'm as human as you. I'm one of you. But the idea that we have to portray something to be accepted or liked and followed. I say this with love to all of you. I really don't care if you don't like me. I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here to engage you. I'm here so that together we can have discussions that are going to help improve our community. You don't have to like me and I don't have to like you for that to happen. But social media is a necessary evil. Do I agree with this ban? My only issue is the age. I know that young people's brains are not fully developed, so I think it's more protecting them. But how do you enforce it?
Okay, so good question. That was actually asked in some of the interviews that were going on, and they were saying that basically they would have to, like, the child themselves, or I guess if you're over 16, you'd have to put in some sort of identification, like driver's license, something to prove that you are over 16. But again, these are still like the steps that tech companies will need to take because truthfully, the ban is on them. because they need to regulate all their rules and how people can actually access their apps now in order for, things to progress forward. And I mean, the penalties on it are really steep with the millions of dollars as well. But yeah, it's something that they're definitely into what and they're going to try. So definitely going to keep an eye on it. And I actually went to my page as well because I was curious how people felt about it and if this should be a ban that Bermuda implements. But before I show you guys those results, audience, if you can in the comments, yes or no, do you think Bermuda should have this ban? Yes or no? Do you think Bermuda should have this ban?
That's a good question. Because our audience is generally older, right? And I'd like to. That's a good question, Mike. Audience, answer, Maya, please. Please answer.
So before I put up the results of what everyone said, I also did ask another question that had to do with what are your concerns with social media right now? Here are some people's responses that you can see on the screen. So the first one at the top, you see information overload, overstimulated brain activity, 24/7, shrinking critical thinking development, which is true. Some say kids aren't being kids anymore, unregulated by parents these days. When I was younger, my mom used to check my phone. There you go. So screen addiction for one, and it's mostly causing distractions with endless scrolling for youth, sharing just fight videos, murder victims, pictures, etc. Misinformation and believing everything you see without fact checking, and the lack of digital lit. And this first was a 3-part series. You could see the whole thing on my story. There's a lot more to come, I guarantee. But the political bias that some platforms have, the polls just asking for thoughts on government policies, and the deep fakes as well.
So, we ask for thoughts on government policies, and I have my bias. You can't, folks. Here's the thing. You can't make me feel like crap. I know who I am. I admit my bias, and we ask for thoughts on government policies all the time. So what?
I think this person though was asking mainly stating just wanting to get people's first reactions without actually knowing the policies. So giving it without information first, or asking without information first. But I could be wrong. Yeah, I was like, let me go into this. I was going to ask that question back to that individual as well. But yeah, so those were some of the comments I put up. I can't see if anyone's answering the yes or no question there, but yes or no, do you think that Bermuda should have this ban? Okay, yeah, Mark Alfie Phillips says yes. Traveling Trotty says yes as well. Paul Ritchie says yes. Okay, another yes from Johnson there. Okay.
You old people are just biased. I want to hear from some. I'm joking. I'm not calling the audience over.
It just put up last night, so I feel like there's a lot more to come. But the results for me as well is yes, and then 20% saying no. So still the majority is yes. It could change throughout the day, so I'll definitely keep you guys posted tomorrow if anything happens. Right now, I think it's under 50 people who voted. I did put it up quite late, so I'm looking for maybe 100, 200 to get some more, real statistics on it. But that's what we're looking like right now in terms of this. And I must say, because I do a lot of media lit work when I'm out in Toronto. And one of the things that we tend to do, and we go to these students, and you can try it out for yourself, is look at your screen time. Look at your screen time and see how many hours a week or even a day that you put on your screen. I think you'd be quite shocked to see and how fast these hours go by when you're doom scrolling or on social media, and even tells you what app that you're on constantly. And ask yourself, is this benefiting me in any way?
Well, Maya's gonna miss me over the break because my screen time is gonna be very little. Yeah.
All right, so moving on to our other piece of news for today. You may recall that the government published the climate change and its impact on Bermuda study on November 27th. I brought it up a little bit here when I did the story on climate change and the air quality in Bermuda, while highlighting the pressing challenges and opportunities associated with the future impacts of climate change on the island. This is what this script had to do. And what we are going to talk about right now is 2 points within this study that I think just are really quite interesting, and I want you guys to pay attention to. So the first one we're going to talk about is flooding. Now, there's data all throughout about the rising sea levels, humidity impacts, and more. But let's look at effects on persons, especially around the areas we know get heavily flooded. So it read in the report that as a result of severe flooding that occurs every time it rains, the businesses and residents have been impacted as follows. Approximately 500 employees of the Mill Creek businesses cannot arrive or leave work due to flooding that can sometimes be 3 feet deep. Cars of the employees and residents require significantly more maintenance due to the engine damage from the flooding. Each business is losing between $13,000 and $40,000 per day on flooding days, and disabled residents are confined to their home and cannot leave the area. So those are some of the major things that are happening currently when it comes to these floodings that are happening on the island and the impacts that it happens to person to person. Now, the second one that we're going to talk about, though, is the heat conditions and outdoor conditions of, just residents on the island. So if you know anyone in construction or in fishery, pay attention to these statistics. The report says that outdoor workers' exposure to adverse heat conditions will increase in the future. In other jurisdictions, the highest heat-related illnesses occur in the construction industry. Other relative outdoor professions in Bermuda are agriculture and fisheries and landscaping. And in 2016, there were 656 skilled agriculture, fishery workers and landscape gardeners, and 3,045 construction workers on the island. So in total, that's around 3,300 workers who are potentially exposed to heat stress. Let's go into a little bit of statistics that they want to mention for us. Look at these stats right here. So outdoor workers are typically paid lower than the baseline medium income. So medium salary in Bermuda is around $53,700, and agriculture workers are paid $45,300 medium salary, and construction workers are paid $51,800 median salary approximately. So how does this kind of affect the heat and also them being healthy? Well, it goes into a little bit of health insurance here. So therefore, in conclusion, they say that the heat risk is due to A, the natural exposure of outdoor workers in Bermuda, and B, the vulnerability of their generally lower pay income in related to health insurance. They may in turn decrease vulnerability to lasting impacts of heat-related illnesses. So what you see right here on this screen is the percentage of workers in outdoor jobs that lack health insurance versus all other jobs. Construction, increasingly higher than the average of all jobs when it comes to just having that health insurance, even access to health insurance on the island. And again, the health insurance will help in a way, and as well when it comes to these heat illnesses or effects that are coming toward them, for them to be able to use the health insurance to figure out, like, okay, what steps should I take or what precautions should I be taking in place to help prevent these illnesses from happening to me while I'm on the job.
You know what, MP? I'd like to know Canada, where they have national health insurance, if I'm not mistaken, right? I would like to know how much people on average save on health insurance versus, people in the US who have to pretty much go without medical care because they can't afford it. Like, I don't know. It just seems, I don't want to use that word. I'm happy for the conversation coming up after this. Maybe I'll save it for that. But medical care should not be about profit, man. I just think this is the stuff that's bothersome about capitalism. This is the stuff this is the bad part about capitalism. And my hope is that we can have conscious people with a conscience who get into spaces and start caring more about people than they do profits. I hope. That's my hope. But there's something wrong with a system that's so focused on profits over people. And that's the bad side of capitalism.
Yeah. I think I saw a video the other day and I just wanted to search these statistics on it because it was like this person from the US and the UK asking these out, like, how much do you think it costs in the US for XYZ or things like that? And I've definitely seen a lot of TikToks with mothers who had just given birth in the States, and it is astronomical, the prices. I'm like just another reason not to have kids out there. But
right?
But this one here, I just searched up, like, how much is for an insulin in the UK versus US? So in the UK, or like in the UK, it's about $7.52. It's according to this 2023 statistic on New Scientist. So it's about $7.52 for an insulin in the UK. In Canada, it's about $12. In the United States, on average, it's $100.
Folks,
These
I mean,
differences.
again, this is, you can't tell me that you think this is okay, man.
That's why the world is, and like right now, as we're seeing like over the states news, things are happening. It's affecting people in a way that now, rebellious movements are being taken.
Mm-hmm.
Now, moving on to our next story, because I want to make sure we get our guests in. But we've heard about it before. We've now been talking about it often. But the Ministry of Security launches the Uniform Services Recruitment Campaign. This campaign is called to all Bermudians to step up, take the challenge, and consider a fulfilling career in our uniformed services. And this is coming from the Minister of National Security. Bermudians have been calling for more job opportunities, but are these the jobs that they actually want? Well, hopefully with this launch, we'll have that answer to the question when we know in a few months or even a year whether applications are continuing and if this campaign continues to run or if it worked. So the Ministry of National Security is announcing the launch of a comprehensive multi-month campaign to encourage Bermudians, men or women, including young individuals and Bermudian residents overseas, to consider a career in one of the island's 5 uniformed services. So we've spoken recently on the show about the lack of numbers in these services. We also had the commissioner on the show talk about the drop-off in officers, and we are witnessing more services needing more people as senior employees retire, and the number of applications have been going down. So the services are for the Bermuda Police Service, the Royal Bermuda Regiment, Customs Department, Bermuda Fire and Rescue, and the Department of Corrections. So central to the campaign as well, they said, is a dedicated webpage on gov.bm/uniformed services. And this will serve as like a one-stop resource. This is what you're seeing right here on the page, that's dedicated to all the information about each service, engaging videos and contact details, updates on upcoming recruitment periods as well. So the Minister of Weeks just went on to say that the uniform services are the backbone of Bermuda's safety and the well-being, and we need dedicated individuals to continue the vital work. Even if your desired service isn't recruiting at the moment, don't be discouraged. Please stay engaged with the page, he says. So that's where we're at right now.
I know we got to run, but I'll say this much. I saw the wife of an MP when someone said we don't have, we can't find corrections officers, and she responded, "We're dealing with it now." I think the stupidity of people who just defend their political parties is really shown in these times. Life is not about addressing the problem when it happens. It goes back to the question of the morning: how do we prevent getting here? And I think the issue we have is, how did we get here, and then how do we avoid getting back into this space? And that comes from a simple lack of education, preparation for things that are coming in the future. We will be governing in a short-sighted manner. But anyway, continue, Maya.
We're just going to close out right now by saying that the Bermuda Post Office announced that mail delivery to Canada will resume on Monday, December the 23rd. So anyone that may have sent something prior to the processing and transporting arrangements are in place. All mail items will be forwarded on a rolling basis beginning on December the 23rd. So the mail is going back to Canada.
Okay, cool. I ain't saying you nothing, Canada, Maya. So.
I wasn't expecting anything. Anyway, so in today's weather, we got plenty of sunshine, it says, but windy conditions will be happening a little bit later, and we got a high of 73. Now, I'm saying that they're telling me it's no rain right now, but they also didn't tell me it was going to be rain yesterday. So just bring your raincoats regardless, and, be safe on those bikes.
All right. Thank you, Maya. So today, Days of the Year, it's actually Baked Cookies Day. I'm just going to ask a simple question. Has anyone in the audience baked cookies before? Maya, have you baked cookies?
Yeah, I've baked cookies before.
Oh, that was a silly question. I've never baked cookies.
Oh, well, I mean...
What?
It's not, no, I was going to say, it's not like I do it often. I'm not like a huge baker. My grandma bakes a lot. Actually, I can't even remember the last time I did, but I know I did. It must have been like when I was like 12.
Okay. Yeah, I've been present when my nana was baking them, but I've never baked cookies. But I've eaten them. Maya, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
All right, Maya Palacio, folks, do not go anywhere. We've got Zarah Siddiqi coming up. We're going to be talking about healthcare. Work Bermuda is love to ensure that everyone has the right to healthcare. So stick with us and let us know in the audience. Have you ever baked cookies? I want to see whose house I'm going to be crashing to get some Christmas cookies from. Stick with us. We'll be back in 3 minutes, 13 seconds.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's. I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Unlock your business potential with BDC's General Microloan, offering up to $30,000 for Bermudian small and medium businesses. Whether it's for inventory, working capital, or equipment, we provide 100% guarantee on approved loans. Simple application, low interest rates, and fast processing. Apply today and make your business dream come true.
You won't miss out. Noah's Ark is open 7 days a week for the holiday season and with big savings. Whether it's everyday essentials like dog food or cat litter or those items you've been eyeing all year like aquariums, our huge 8-page holiday flyer is out now, packed with incredible offerings until December 31st. And we're open every Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m. through to December 22nd. Visit noahsark.pm, view our sales flyer, and join our rewards program. Noah's Ark, your reliable pack care specialist, making your holidays even more special.
Live exceptionally with HSBC MasterCard Pay with Rewards. Transform your points into what you love and get closer to winning an unforgettable trip to Dubai or one of 3 luxury experiences in Bermuda. To start following these steps, download the Pay and Rewards app from the App Store or Google Play. Register your HSBC MasterCard credit card in the app. Set your preferences to use points automatically or for your next purchase. Use your HSBC MasterCard for every purchase and redeem your points into rewards. In addition, for every $300 spent with your HSBC MasterCard, earn a chance to win an incredible monthly experience. Terms and conditions apply. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
Bermuda Trivia, the Black History Edition, is now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Visit bermudatrivia.com or email contact@bermudatrivia.com to learn more.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Folks, if you haven't already, make sure you give us whatever platform you're on, a like, a love. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. All right, I asked, it's Bake Cookie Day, right? Has anyone baked cookies? Suzanne Ingham says, of course. I'm Mama and Nana, Cookie Monster. All right, Suzanne's going to be making us some cookies, folks. We've got Kristen Souza says, yes, we had a cookie exchange this weekend. 8 dozen cookie varieties to choose from. All right. And yeah, we didn't get any, Kristen. We didn't get any. Headley and Swan says, yes, but I prefer to eat the dough. It actually tastes better than the baked cookie. I do like some cookie dough. I used to kind of get in Nana's there when she weren't looking. Renee Simmons says, of course, sugar cookies, oatmeal raisin cookies, peanut butter cookies. I have to be in the mood though. How can we get you in the mood to bake some cookies? If you all haven't realized yet, I may not bake cookies, but I'm gonna eat some cookies. Emily Gail Dill says, I bake cookies, favorite thing to do with little people. All right, so I guess I gotta go up the country, as we say, get myself some cookies. Well, we were supposed to have a guest this morning, folks, but don't see her on camera and ready to go. But well, I guess we will. Right. Well, let's give a warm TDH welcome to Zarah Siddiqi. We're going to be talking about healthcare. We're going to be talking about what Bermuda's Love is doing as far as healthcare. And as you heard with Maya's news break, it was a very interesting one as far as healthcare and people in certain fields. So let's give a warm TDH welcome to our guest for the day, Zarah Siddiqi. Welcome. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Do you bake cookies?
So I use the pre-made cookie dough that you can get from Lindo's, but If I was into that baking lifestyle, I would bake some cookies.
Okay, cool. So you do better than me. You do more. You
But
actually
that dough is good. That dough is really good. Don't let anyone tell you it's not.
See, there you go. I'm gonna try that. You just gave me an in. So I'm gonna get some pre-made cookie dough, and you all can make fun of me because it's good dough, and my cookies are gonna come out well.
10 minutes maximum,
10
and you'll have some delicious cookies.
10 minutes to make?
10 minutes.
You just made my
I don't
day.
know what preservatives are in that dough, but let me tell you, it tastes good.
Hey, thanks
10
for
minutes.
that.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Disclaimer.
She just gave me that disclaimer, folks. But Zarah, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for
and before we
having
jump
me.
to the conversation, we have Bermuda's Love and Bermuda Youth Connect, a part of this show pretty often because the work that everyone is doing as a part of these organizations is critical to Bermuda today, tomorrow, and for the greater future. But just tell the audience a bit about yourself and your connection to Bermuda is Love.
All right. So my name is Zarah Siddiqi. I'm 16 years old and I go to Summersfield Academy. So Bermuda's Love. Well, I don't know if you guys know too much about Bermuda's Love, but essentially Bermuda's Love is a community organization dedicated to ensuring the basic human rights for all. And when I say human rights, of course, not able to target every single human right there is, but Bermuda's Love targets things like access to justice, access to clothing, access to education, access to food, access to healthcare, and sort of promoting a better and healthier environment. And they do this by organizing events that take place weekly or bi-weekly on the weekends, free of charge, no sign-up required, and every single event ties into a specific human right, if that makes sense. So I'll give you an example. This month, December, well, mind you, Bermuda's Love releases different campaigns for each month of the calendar year. So this month is actually Empathy in Action, sort of trying to promote and cultivate understanding for the greater community and a more collectivist mindset rather than individualist. So we do events such as like clothing drives, blood drives, book drives to promote, that sense of love and community here in Bermuda. And let me speak about last month, November, which is what compelled me to write the Healthcare, a Right, Not a Privilege article. The campaign was hashtag Your Health, Your Future. So Bermuda's Love was sort of doing their part in making sure all Bermudians have equal access to adequate healthcare. We did this by organizing a variety of events. So there was blood drives. There was also talks about healthcare, what it means, and informative sessions, because a lot of people are ignorant to a lot of problems with healthcare, and not by choice. The word ignorant sort of comes with a negative connotation, so forgive me for using that. But in all reality, I think ignorant just means you don't have the knowledge needed to sort of thrive in that sense. Like it's not your fault that you're unsure of what it is, but this is why so many different organizations, but specifically Bermuda's Love, is doing their part to make sure you know about what you need to know about in this day and age.
Indeed. Sorry, I'm stuck that you're only 16. Wow, I didn't realize that. But in terms of, I just want to touch on that. I think you're right. I use the term ignorant because the truth is we're all ignorant to many things. I think it comes with accepting and understanding that we have something to learn about a particular topic. So I'm glad that you've written that article and that you've taken that on within the organization. But speak on the importance of healthcare from your perspective.
Okay, so let me start with a little personal story. A week ago, last Wednesday, I got really sick. You could probably still hear the effects lingering in my voice, so forgive me for that. But when I woke up with that sore throat, or when I used like 100 tissues that night and couldn't breathe out of my nose, my first thought wasn't fear. You see, I wasn't afraid of, is this the end? And I know that sounds like an exaggeration to so many people, but it's not. It's the reality for millions, even billions. It's like when I woke up, I wasn't afraid of what would happen to me tomorrow because my first thought was, oh, I'm sick. Maybe I should go to the doctor. And that's not a privilege I have. That's a right. So it's sad that so many people don't have this right because Article 25 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights actually states that every human deserves to have the basic and adequate access to healthcare needed for them to live a happy and healthy life. So when I woke up, my first thought was I can go to the doctor. But so many people, and this is not just the issue that we feel is so far away. This happens in our backyard. So many people in Bermuda, so many people in the parish you live in can't wake up and say, I'm going to go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just not a, and I don't even want to use the word luxury, but that's just not a right that they have, which isn't okay. I mean, a lot of times we say like, oh, that's not a basic right that X, Y, and Z has. But at the end of the day, that's a violation to the Human Rights Constitution. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, this was released in 1948. I mean, the anniversary for it is December 10th, so we just celebrated that a few days ago, or rather commemorated. It's been around for a long time. So the fact that there are still so many things violating the basic human rights constitution, and mind you, these are basic needs. Like on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like these are at the bottom, like having access to food and water, healthcare, lights, etc. That's here. And yet there are still so many people that are down here.
You know, it's interesting because when I go to the doctor or anywhere, dentist or wherever, the first question they ask you is for your insurance. That shouldn't be the first question they ask you. The first question they should be asking is, how can we help you? Or what is wrong? Or what, you know, it hit me. Like the first question they ask is usually insurance. And it's almost like, okay, so if this person doesn't have insurance, are you saying that they're less than and we should not help them or we can't help them? This is an important conversation. And I'm glad that someone, and I don't mean this in a demeaning way, but someone so young is so passionate about this. Because as I said earlier, you know, I mentioned maternity leave as an example in the United States. And it wasn't until I was in graduate school that I learned that the US was one of probably 8 countries that doesn't have maternity leave within law. And again, as long as you can get people to believe that they're living comfortable or they have a good life or a better life or a great life, then they're not going to fight for these things. I remember when my second job in the US, she was about 22, just graduated college and making $13 an hour. And we spoke on healthcare because at that time it was this big thing about universal healthcare in the US. And her thing was, well, they get paid less in Canada. Yeah, her healthcare may be included, but they get paid less. And I think that mentality, that's again, it goes back to what I was saying about if you can convince people they're living better where they are than anywhere else in the world, then they'll think making more is better than having the basic right to healthcare. But the question now comes is, what do young people like yourself, what do Bermuda's love, what do you guys do to change this? Oops, I think she's frozen, folks, but it's just me. But you get what I'm saying, and I want to share this. Shamari Talbot-Woolridge says, insurance companies are literally a for-profit middleman between people and their healthcare. They don't provide healthcare. Yeah, they are. I don't understand. I've never understood why healthcare needs to be so expensive. I don't believe that healthcare is something that should be for profit. And I know we can sit here, all of us, we can sit here and say, well, we contribute as individuals to our, you know, healthcare situations by what we eat or our lack of activity. But no, it's bigger than that. But let me bring Zarah back in. Zarah, sorry about that. You became a popsicle. You got frozen.
Sorry, the Wi-Fi cut.
No problem, no problem. It happens. It's technology. But I was saying before you froze, I was just speaking about maternity leave and just, you know, people, you know, entering spaces. And I used the example of a friend I had when she graduated college. She spoke about, well, they may get healthcare in Canada, but, you know, we make more money here. And that being the mentality of making people believe that they have a better life here than they would elsewhere simply because of what they make rather than what they have. But what is Bermuda's love doing? What are you all doing to change the mentality to get people to understand that what you said, this is a right, not a privilege. Like everyone deserves access to this.
So I'll tell you a bit about Bermuda's love more collectively rather than just focusing on the healthcare. So you could hear me, right? Sorry, I moved. Yes. But essentially, I mean, I think this ties into the name Bermuda is love. This also touches on the whole capitalist society thing and how like our correlation with healthcare is money. When we say Bermuda is love, I think the use of the word love really promotes and cultivates the idea that what the founders of Bermuda's Love do, what everyone involved with the community does, is love. Like essentially what their goal on this island is to do is to promote joy, happiness, love, and community. Community is a big thing that I think has a big correlation with the word love. They're not trying to get compensation for activating these human rights. What they're actually trying to do sort of is like, educate and inspire Bermudians to take the proactive steps necessary towards improving their island. Bermuda's Love doesn't do what they do so they can be recognized and so they can be validated. They do it for the betterment of Bermudians. And I think that's what it means to sort of not have your first thought always be money. Sort of like you said about we make more money. This is why this country is better than this one. But it's like, why is healthcare correlated with money? I mean, healthcare is like a live or die. Like a quote that I, heard once was, you can have 1 million problems until it's a health problem, then you only have one problem. Healthcare isn't something that we can look at and say, okay, you give me surgery, I owe you this much money. Like, thank you. And doctors do so much, don't get me wrong. But the fact that our first initial thought is, how much is it going to cost? Do you know how much an ambulance costs in Bermuda?
How much?
$1,000. I just checked that out. I mean, I'm probably in the US as well. Like, for an ambulance, in an emergency, life or death situation, because mind you, you're not getting an ambulance just because you feel like it for fun. So how can we sort of look at healthcare and think, you only deserve it if you have this much money? So I actually touched on this a bit in my article, but take disabled people for an example. And this also ties into the whole insurance thing. You can't get you can get healthcare, but it's very difficult if you're not, on an insurance plan. And in order to be on an insurance plan, you have to obviously have a job, a good job at that. So many disabled people are unable to get a job. And that's evident in Bermuda many times. However, that also violates the International Labor Organization's law, which states that all disabled people must have equal treatment and equal opportunities by, providing reasonable accommodation in the recruitment process, on the job, etc. However, so many disabled people are turned down at job interviews. So many disabled people are unable to get into their employment place. How can they enter it? For example, stairs, etc. So many barriers to actually working. And then these disabled people are the people who need access to healthcare more than anyone. Yet they're the ones who are unable to get jobs. They're the ones who are unable to have insurance. They're the ones who cannot afford it. So what does that mean? It'd be one thing if it was people like you and I who couldn't afford it because, okay, God forbid anything happens, we're healthy. But disabled people who are already at a disadvantage in life due to the way that their bodies are created are also, in so many cases here in Bermuda especially, unable to work because whilst we're progressive and we're taking steps towards a better future, we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, this is a hard conversation that needs to be had, and it doesn't need to be had just today. It needs to be. It's an ongoing conversation. Again, I completely agree with you. Healthcare is a right. It's something that everyone should have access to. I think I read somewhere recently that if you don't have health insurance, I don't know if this is in Bermuda, but I want to say the US, and you want to apply for it, they need to know what diseases you have and so on. And, before they give you coverage, I'm just like, that's crazy to me. People, I think people need to understand the cost of not having healthcare insurance. And a lot of people who watch this show may have health insurance due to jobs, but to understand the true cost of healthcare insurance is to go without it, to see what people are dealing with.
Yeah, and I think a lot of time people don't understand that it can be proactive rather than reactive.
Correct.
Healthcare isn't something that you only need to focus on once the person is already in a life or death situation. Like, this is why we have yearly checkups, right? I mean, that's great. And it's wonderful that we have that, but not everyone has it. I have it. On my 16th birthday, I went to the doctor. I'm very thankful for that. But not everyone can. A lot of people turn 16 without being able to go to the doctor.
Correct. And this is true, and that shouldn't be a thing. Shamari Talbot-Orich says, great job, Zarah. Renee Simmons says, absolutely. Bermuda should have long had national healthcare system. Had a national healthcare system, being one of the richest countries in the Western Hemisphere. It's a basic human right, yes. Why is money put on healthcare? And I think that's just capitalism. And as I said earlier, these are the bad parts of capitalism. And I'm not going to get into capitalism versus socialism and all the isms. I'm not going to do that today. But we have to address what's before us. And this is something that I don't think we talk about enough. I don't think we understand it enough. And I appreciate the work that Bermuda is Love is doing. Shamari Talbot-Orich says, I know a person who lost their job, hence lost their insurance, and ultimately died because they needed a life-saving procedure. It's crazy. Zarah, we don't talk about this, but there are a lot of people who lose jobs, and most of us, most of the community thinks, oh, they're just losing income. No, they're losing healthcare. They're losing benefits. They're losing a lot more. And so I'd encourage people, man. This is where community comes in so handy. I said earlier, it's not a good thing when people have GoFundMe pages. It's not. We should not be in a space where if something happens to one of our friends that we need to create a GoFundMe page. That's not something we should be celebrating.
Think about the fact that Bermuda has the 4th highest GDP per capita in the world.
Yeah.
That is the country that we live in. But so many people are at a place where they don't know where their next meal is coming from.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know.
We have some things to address, but Zarah, this has been a pleasure having you on this morning, and definitely I love when we have people from Bermuda is Love on this show, the energy, the education and information. Again, many of us are ignorant to something, right? None of us is perfect. None of us know all of everything. And my hope is that when these conversations happen, we become a more empathetic as well as educated on topics like this. So thank you so much for stopping by, and just let people know how they can get in touch with you or learn more about Bermuda is Love.
Okay, so thanks so much for having me. I mean, it was a pleasure. Sorry that my Wi-Fi cut out for a minute, but I thought this conversation was super important and meaningful and great to have. And thanks everyone for still watching. So how you can get involved with Bermuda is Love. It is super easy. Like, honestly, don't be intimidated at all by anyone there, because one thing about the people at Bermuda is Love and everyone is that it's a no judgment zone. Like 100%. I have never, not once, felt a little bit judged or embarrassed being there. I'm also young. So it's like when I first sort of heard about Bermuda is Love and wanted to get involved because I thought what they were doing was incredible and something that I'm super interested in, human rights, law, etc. I was a little nervous, like most people are when, talking to someone new. But they're all so welcoming and kind-hearted and genuinely have a care for Bermuda that all of that goes right out the door when you go to an event. Like, these events being free of charge and no sign-up needed are perfect, because check out their Instagram at BDA is Love, or a website, bermudaslove.com, X, Bermuda is Love, Facebook, any social media platform you can think of. The username is either BDA is Love or Bermuda is Love, because Bermuda is long. And there they have all the events that you can go to, 6 or 7 per month. So yeah, different campaigns. Check us out. And thanks again for having me.
No worries. Thank you, Zarah. Have a wonderful holiday. And look forward to having a chat with you guys in the new year. Talk soon.
Thank you so much.
All right. Zarah Siddiqi, folks, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like, whatever platform you're on. Make sure you share that most important conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take our final break. We'll be back in 2 minutes, 41 seconds. And we've got a daily play coming up. We want to see who gets this one right. Stick with us.
All right. Who was the first woman to become not just the first female opposition leader in Bermuda, but throughout the entire British Commonwealth?
Dame Liz Brown Evans.
Hey, buddy. Hun, who was the first woman to serve as opposition leader, not just in Bermuda, but throughout the entire British Commonwealth?
Dame Lois Brown Evans.
Mason, what did you say?
Dame Lois Brown Evans.
Dame Lois Brown Evans? Where do you find that?
Mommy playing Bermuda trivia.
Mommy playing Bermuda trivia.
Oh, honey, I'm so proud of you. Good job.
It's true. Children are a reflection of their environment. Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Fun with a purpose. To educate, to entertain, to inform, to inspire, to learn, and to enjoy. Bermuda Trivia. All volumes now available at various stores throughout Bermuda. Visit bermudatrivia.com to learn more and follow Bermuda Trivia on your favorite social media platforms.
Live exceptionally with HSBC MasterCard Pay with Rewards. Transform your points into what you love and get closer to winning an unforgettable trip to Dubai or one of 3 luxury experiences in Bermuda. To start following these steps, download the Pay and Rewards app from the App Store or Google Play. Register your HSBC MasterCard credit card in the app. Set your preferences to use points automatically or for your next purchase. Use your HSBC MasterCard for every purchase and redeem your points into rewards. In addition, for every $300 spent with your HSBC MasterCard, earn a chance to win an incredible monthly experience. Terms and conditions apply. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Pair with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Zarah Siddiqi for a wonderful conversation, young person making a difference in the community. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right. Here's your question today. It's not Bermuda trivia, it's holiday trivia. First person to answer correctly on my screen will be eligible for this week's draw. Here we go. Let me get my music ready. What popular Christmas edible is known for its long shelf life? I'm going to say this was sarcasm. Milk expires so fast, but the answer is correct. Marquita Lee. Fruitcake. Shamari told Wars. Fruitcake. Sheikah Rana. Fruitcake. Marquita Lee said it first. I think she is in the draw twice this week. Yeah, she's got them both this week. She's on fire. We know what happened last week. Karen Simmons got in there twice and won it. Yeah, fruitcake. It's fruitcake. Yeah, fruitcake. Candy cane would make sense, right? But yeah, fruitcake. That was the answer. I'm known for its long shelf life. All right, so we've entered Marquita Lee in. Let's say, I'll say this much as I end the show. We have work to do in our community. We have a lot of work to do in our community. Unfortunately, we have become almost desensitized to everything that goes on around us. And I want to change that. I want us to want to change that. I want us to have a community where people feel okay leaving the doors unlocked again. I want people to feel okay knowing that their sons and their fathers and their brothers and their nephews and their cousins are going to make it home safely. This is going to require a community effort. As far as the conversation with Zarah, I'm grateful for young people like her. I'm grateful for Bermuda's love to push these conversations, to ensure that we have an opportunity to understand the importance of ensuring that every person has access to healthcare. So I appreciate them very much for having conversations with us on a regular basis that make us think, And she said to just get an ambulance is $1,000. And Suzanne Ingham says last year an ambulance was $1,200. You don't have health insurance and you've got bills to pay. Do you really have $1,200 sitting around? Here's your quote for the day. The greatest wealth is health. End quote. And that's unknown author. Quote, the greatest wealth is health. End quote. Unknown author. The greatest wealth is health. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are Izelle. Peace.